Right, well, this is horrible. Thanks for this.
You're welcome.
So
Hello, husbands. Hi.
We always say this by the fire.
Welcome to my fireplace shot. That should be a Netflix, not Netflix, like a screensaver background for your TV. So, just a little bit of context. I have roped you into today answering some questions with me from a new digital download I have created for my website for people to deepen their conversations. How are you feeling about that?
I think it's a great resource.
You don't
I feel like we already have lots of deep conversations because of who you are. So I worry that we're going to get to this and be like, oh, yeah, we spoke about that. Oh, yeah, we spoke about this.
Yeah.
And I feel like, we're not, like, I think, like, because you've written these, we have those conversations already.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure
how it's going to go.
But I'm loving how warm the fire is. So I'm very happy to sit here.
So glad we had a service today.
Great.
It's amazing.
But yeah, so how do we do this?
There are multiple ways of using these cards. So they are split into themes, but I just thought, hey, we'll just be random.
And you shuffled them up?
I've shuffled them like a full-on gambler, dealer person.
Cool. Like we're in a casino.
Like in a casino.
Casino of conversation.
Casino of conversation. Why did we not name it that? That's a great idea.
So do we pick one each, or how do we do it?
I'm just going to...
You can't ask me one, I get to ask you some of the questions.
You're going to pick one. I would sure they'd spread out better if it was on card, but go on. You pick a question.
You didn't do that like a casino worker.
Well, sorry. And then we're just going to have a little conversation for our lovely viewers.
Who's asking who? Or are we just talking about this together?
Yeah, so you can ask the first
question. How do you feel when I'm fully honest with you, even about difficult things? I wanted this question because I actually have an answer. It's not fair.
You can have
No, it's all right. You go. How do you
anyway.
feel when I'm fully honest with you, even about difficult things?
Initially horrendous.
Yes. Yeah, like...
Because you kind of want people to fluff it up, don't you? And tell you what you want to hear. But I think when you're fully honest and open, like, I feel that's really great because it means that you feel safe enough in our relationship that you can be fully open and vulnerable and honest with me about how you feel. I feel like in our marriage, that's something we've potentially had to learn because it's not been easy for you to be open and vulnerable about talking about things. So actually, I see it as a huge progression step for us that we've got to a point where we can have really honest conversations and you can express your needs in a way that, you know, they're going to be met and heard. But it is really hard, especially if it's something that, for me, as someone who maybe quite a lot all the time personalizes everything, sometimes hearing those things is really hard, right? But it's better to hear that than to not hear that.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like you said, the initial bit, I'm like, it can be a bit like annoyed or a bit pissed off or a bit like, but actually you sit with it for a second and you're like, no, it's really good you brought this up because it's something I want to work on, because it's our relationship and I want to work on that, or whatever it may be that you're bringing up, or you've got to sit in like that. I just sound like you.
Oh,
no,
you did.
That's
you
gross.
did it. How many times?
You've got to sit in that discomfort. That's what you say. I can't start saying it. We're only married for like 6 months or whatever. But yeah, like that's the thing though. Like, at first it's like annoying, and then you sit with it, and then you're like, oh no, I get it. I see what I did there, or I see what happened there, and that's when you're like, you can work on it. So yeah, as much as it sickens me to say, you got to sit in that discomfort, but you do. Oh, that's literally what you say. But yeah, I think for me, it shows a level of like connection and trust and respect when the other person has, or you've come to me and gone this, and that's not an easy thing for you to say because you know I'm going to take it badly at first or whatever, like it might be, or it's going to bring up a point of tension. But yeah.
Great.
It's a good question now. Whoever wrote it, 10 out of 10.
Oh, thanks. It's like I've studied it and stuff. You know?
It's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I like it. Cutting out though.
The cutting out's
You didn't cut out very well. No.
Yeah, all right. Well, I did it quickly.
Sorry.
Well, we've kind of found our own way the point is with these cards is they can be used really creatively. So you can do it as we're doing now, and you can just pick one and both discuss it, or you can take in turns, or you can take one on a walk and reflect as a walk through the woods, or you can...
I think we do our best conversations when we're walking. Like, I think we'll go for a stroll around here, or go on the moors, or by the sea, and actually I think that's when we chat loads. And you've got that... Yeah. I think as a guy, someone said this to me once, another guy, we were sat in a car chatting about some pretty heavy stuff, and he went, this is why I like driving, because we're sat next to each other, but we're not looking at each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and he's like, I think as guys, sometimes you don't want to make that eye contact because it feels uncomfortable. So I think sometimes when we walk along, like holding hands or like messing around or whatever, that's when you suddenly like have some like proper conversation, because you're not like
staring
like we are right now, which is quite intense.
Yeah.
But it's nice because it's weird because I feel like we're not touching or anything, which we don't normally sit like this. This is strange, but I think sometimes the walking thing as a guy, particularly, or maybe I don't know for women as well, but for me, I think it helps sometimes to not be staring at them. Yeah, don't know.
I think you're right in that. There's something in that as well about physical touch. I think both of our love language is physical touch as well as quality time. So when we're taking the time to be in nature, which again we both love, and there's something in positive psychology about walking as well. It's like you're almost walking towards the solution. So when we're holding hands and we're walking in a direction and we're surrounded by the things that we love, and you're not making eye contact, like I had that with working with children and young people when we were in the car. It was almost like, is non-conflictual work? I don't think it is. Non-confrontational. When you're sat next to each other, right? It doesn't feel as intense as what we're doing now, like staring into each other's eyes.
This is quite intense.
It's quite intense.
With the fire and the lights and...
I know, we're going to get hot at one point.
It is warm.
So we'll work our way through it. So how do you want to do it? I'll pick one.
You've got to pick one now.
Okay. I really feel like we should make a podcast.
That feels like a terrible idea.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. Right. We'll make it happen, just like the puppy.
The puppy. I want it on camera. The puppy's not happening.
The puppy is
The puppy's not happening.
The puppy's happening.
If you pick one from the same category, I feel like you have to save it for later.
Okay. So that one was from the category openness and honesty. So they are grouped into 5 different themes.
Pick one.
So the next one is going to be this one. So this one is from the shared values and future vision category. So here you go. Are you ready?
I feel like this one's something stuff we talk about quite a lot, so I'm excited. I feel like it'd be an easy answer.
Yeah, okay.
Not that it's always good to be an easy answer, but I'm like...
What do you think we can do together to grow as individuals and as a couple?
Ooh, I think we do a lot of stuff already. I think we've identified lots of things we like doing together, and in doing something that we like doing together, we grow together, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it grows us individually and as a couple. So we both climb, and I think, particularly me, by climbing with you, you've identified and I've identified lots of things that I struggle with that aren't like specifically climbing based, but are triggered by climbing. And I think I've learned a lot about myself individually through that by doing it with you, that otherwise I would have just not worked out even if I was climbing. So I think that's one of our things, like we do things together like that. So I think we do lots of these things already. Like we cook together a lot and we really enjoy our cooking together.
Yeah.
Even, we'll joke that one of us is like the head chef and one of us is the sous chef, just like chopping stuff up. Like that time together is really nice. I know we're doing that later. I'm quite looking forward to cooking together.
Yeah.
Have I just said all your answers?
Probably.
Awesome.
So from that, what do you think we could do more to grow more as individuals?
I feel like you've got to try some new stuff. I'm the worst probably because I don't like trying new stuff like that. But I've had some friends do like pottery together or whatever, or like Lego together. That was it. Someone that we know is doing Lego together and they love it.
Yeah.
Like they're not like Lego-y geeky people. They've just randomly got some Lego and started doing it together, and they've really really enjoyed that time together. Not because of the Lego, but because of the time together. So I think maybe you've got to try some stuff that maybe feels a bit out there or a bit different, and then you might come across things that actually stick. Like you might not do all of them forever. But you might find something that is that new climbing or the new cooking together or the addition.
Novel activities and things.
But not even novel. I think just doing different things is good because it could trigger different conversations or bring up different things that you didn't have by our climbing together, or our cooking together, or our sea swimming together when we sea swim and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think what you've touched on there is like these are quite practical things that you can do together in order to grow. But I think the thing that you were saying about there with it's what we do in those times together that helps us to grow more. So for me, I'm a big talker, and in that time when we're climbing or we're trying new things together, we're growing through having these deep conversations.
Yeah, it's not about the activity. I don't think in any of those things it's specifically about the activity. They just help trigger maybe different conversations because they're different activities.
Yeah.
Like when we're climbing and I'm stuck on something that I'm like, I shouldn't be stuck on this. This is a lower level. I should be able to do it. And then you like input something that's really useful, and it's not actually really about the climbing thing, but the climbing thing is one way I react in that situation, and that other situation also comes up in my other parts of my life, and I do the same reaction, and I learn from that because you brought it up. So like I think.
So I'm just doing that really annoying coachy psychologist thing to you.
Thanks, I love it.
Yeah,
love it when
it's
you
helping you.
But no, I do think like doing. It's not about the activity, but you've got to find something you like doing. Else you're not going to do it. We've tried to do yoga together, and as much as I really think I should do yoga because it would help me,
it's hilarious. You need to see it.
It's not good at all. But like, as much as I think it would be good to do for me, it's really hard to stick at it, and I'd love to push at it and do it more, but it's not sticking. Whereas we climb quite a lot, and we want to climb more. It's just life gets in the way.
Yeah, this is true.
Are you going to answer the question? Or are you just going to leave me to talk?
I'm just going to coach you until I
Thanks. Appreciate that.
What do I think we can do together to grow as individuals as well as a couple?
I suppose you could take this question as an actual what do you think we could do? Like a thing, an activity.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, some of these questions, like I've glanced over a few of them already before, like you can take them in different ways. So you could be like, I think we should start lawn bowling.
To
Is it lawn bowls? Lawn bowling? You know, the old people bowls.
Bowl.
I don't know.
Boulays.
Bowls. Balls.
That sounds like a soup.
I don't know, but you could take that question as give me a specific, what do you think we should do?
Yeah, I think that's the idea of them, is that they can be interpreted however they need to be interpreted to help your relationships progress and your communication progress.
But you could do it multiple times as well. Like you could pick these up again, and you could come back to the same question, and because you're at a different point, you could suddenly have a different answer.
Absolutely.
It could be a specific thing that time, whereas last time it was and not a specific thing, like I want to try more things with you. This time it could be like, I want to do, I don't know, I can't even think of a weird thing I'd want to do.
I'm still going to teach you how to do a headstand.
I can't do a headstand, there's no way it's going to happen.
Anyway, so I've done it again. Good deflection. I'm a great politician.
I think it's my fault because I think I jumped in there with it.
Well, that's okay.
It could be a specific thing.
I think the only thing I would add to that is just keeping the I and we. So how do we grow as individuals and as a couple? So it's not always just like couple reflection on how we can encourage each other's growth. It's also about putting in the time and the effort and the commitment to your own personal development within the relationship in order for you to be able to grow together. Because, you know, in the past it's been a negative experience for me because I'm all about personal growth and development, and I do all these weird and wonderful things and do loads of self-reflection, and then potentially I find myself like outgrowing people, which is awful really, but that's why it's so nice that you're here and you're happy to be in that space of actually. I'll always remember the time where you said to me, oh, it's really annoying, but I actually think that you make me a better person. And I think that comes from...
That sounds definitely like I would have said that.
Yeah, but it looked pretty uncomfortable, like something you'd probably throw around now, but at the time I think it was quite uncomfortable for you to say. But I think, you know, that resonates for me too.
That's
like,
fair.
we just build each other up, right?
Yeah. I really wish we did yoga now. My back already hurts from sitting like this.
I know, I'm getting quite warm next to the fire. Should we do one more?
No, we can't just do one more. Roll, come on.
Oh, okay.
No, the cards! Oh no, I picked for
That
me.
was really loud.
Yeah, sorry.
I know, you need to stop clapping because you're going to like make noises.
Sorry, I'm the one who's got to edit this, it's fine.
You'll shout at yourself.
No, why does he talk so loud? Yeah.
It won't be like, stop making weird sounds with your mouth. It'll be like, why did I clap on the microphone?
Hello, Will. Hello, future me.
No, you're just touching your own boobs. Like, stop that.
It's the microphone.
Okay, stop stroking yourself. It's weird. Choose a card.
Oh, I really feel the pressure to make sure it's a different category.
Different category. Well, not that one. Oof, not that one.
Why not?
Right, yeah, go on.
You can't see which one this one is.
Yeah, no, I can't. What's the theme? You need to go with paper cut.
Sorry. It's the same. Are we going with the same one? Shared values and future vision?
Oh no, we don't need to think about our future too much, do we? Stick it. stick it aside and pick another one.
Yeah, it's a rubbish question. Been out forever.
Wow.
Jokes. It was a good question, but I feel like it's very similar to the last one.
Right, that one fell out, so I feel like that one.
No, conflict and resolution.
Oh, one of our.
What's this one?
Strongest
We've got
points.
2. Oh, we can do both of these because they're two different
I said it fell out,
categories.
so it needs to happen.
Perfect. Let's
it's like
just do.
It jumped out of the pack.
Conflict and resolution. I feel like this is a good category to have in a pack of cards like this because it's something that lots of people struggle with. So I think it's a good one. I feel like our way of doing conflict and resolving conflict has changed a lot recently. But I think that's because we've had a lot more going on in like getting married and buying a house and living together and like,
getting a puppy.
Not getting a puppy, but like me becoming a stepdad and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And conflicting about not getting a puppy. So
still a point of conflict.
How do you feel when we find a resolution that we both agree on after a disagreement? Oh, it's quite a nice. That's like the easy question out of conflict and resolution.
Yeah.
It's almost like we picked the easy ones for the camera.
Oh yeah. For sure.
They're all actually blank other than these ones.
Yeah. How do I feel when we find a resolution that we both agree on after a disagreement? Okay, so I think it always, for me, feels good.
It'd be weird if it felt bad.
Well, you get like mixed emotions with it because it takes a while to get to that point, right? So when we get to a resolution that we both agree on, that's great. But also, I mean, that question maybe needs to be changed slightly because you don't always find something you both agree on. You might find a compromise.
I was going to talk about compromise. That's not fair. That was my bit.
I'm sorry.
I was like, compromise. Because I feel like someone said something about compromise to me once. Don't know who it was or where I read it or where I heard it. I don't know what it was. And it was like, if you've both come out of a disagreement and compromise and you both feel a little bit like you got done over, then you've compromised right. Yeah, if you feel a bit shafted, both of you feel like that, then you've compromised right. Whereas if you come out and feel like you've won, then you've not compromised right because you've done the other person over.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like, but then you still know you've done it right. Like if you feel a bit like, oh, it's not quite, like we've compromised, but at least you've then taken like both parties or both people's like opinions and needs and wants into.
Yeah, so that's that bit that's maybe slightly uncomfortable in it all.
So yeah, but it's not saying it doesn't say do you feel good. It says do you.
How do you feel when you find a resolution that you both agree on? Which again, I think that is the compromise, right? Because we're not always going to agree. Sometimes it's straightforward and it's like, boom, we've had a 20-minute conversation. Yeah, we agree on that. That's how we're going to like co-parent or whatever. And yes,
one of us goes,
right.
oh yeah, right, I was really wrong. You're right, or did that badly. Yeah, but sometimes it takes a bit of like head-butting together and conversation and like
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Well, no, have we ever? I don't think it's been 4 weeks.
I don't feel like I've ever had more than like a day.
Yeah. Some of the bigger issues can sometimes like come back again. But
that's like little. I feel like you do little compromises and little steps, and you like work little bits out and then bring it all together. Don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
We're pretty good though at like not.
I think the other word that comes up for me, other than just good, is like connected.
Yes, I was thinking that when you said it first. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like when you found a resolution that you both agree on, I think for me that's a very, as much as I love having the conversation and like finding that resolution together, I think it does lead definitely to a like deeper level of connection afterwards. It's that whole thing like people talk about trying to avoid conflict, and I'm very much in the like boat of you can't avoid conflict. It's a very natural part of a relationship.
For sure.
It's just about how you manage that conflict and grow from it.
Yeah, I think like you said, there's when you come out of a disagreement or you have a resolution for an argument or whatever it might be. I love how you put disagreement, not argument. I think it's very like we all argue in relationships. That's how it goes. It's okay, but like when you come out of that, like there is a sense of accomplishment and connection and like like it felt like world shattering for a moment, but we've worked through that and actually we're better people because of it and a stronger relationship because of it. So
absolutely.
Good question. I like that one a lot. You could talk about that for ages, that one.
You can.
For sure. And I feel like conflict and resolution as a category is going to be, like, for a lot of people, a really good category to converse about over the long term. Because I think we can all argue better,
That's
disagree better. That was from your video. I copied that.
Oh.
You did a
Did I
video.
come up with that?
You did a video on arguing like adults.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Not like children.
I edited
Let's
it,
learn
so I
to
heard
argue
that.
like adults. It's good that all of my stuff's going in.
It's because I hear it whilst you film it, and when I edit it, and then when you post it again on TikTok, I hear it a third time, like 4 times. And then I go on TikTok and I like it for you, and I hear it again.
Do you think it's just like me subliminally putting in the messaging?
You're not doing this for any other reason, right?
Like
Just
no other
me.
reason, not for the views or anything,
Wow.
just to subliminally
Wow, this
insert
definitely
my
helps
knowledge
with the
into
next
your head.
question. Thanks for that.
Oh.
Confidence there.
I'm getting a dead foot. Go on.
Oh, you got to sit cross-legged for
Have
continuity purposes.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
My back hurts. That's not cross-legged.
I can't, I've got pins and needles in my foot.
It's all about the continuity.
Oh.
All right, ready. What makes you feel safe to be emotionally vulnerable with me? I feel like the first question is a bit like this.
Chocolate.
Because it's the other way around, isn't it? The first one was what does it feel like when someone's vulnerable and says something. Chocolate.
Yeah.
If I bring you chocolate,
I can talk for hours.
you're going to be emotionally vulnerable with me. I feel like you don't struggle being emotionally vulnerable with me.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I think it's a good thing. I think I struggled with it for a long time.
Yeah.
To be emotionally vulnerable with you. What makes you feel safe to be emotionally? Yes, and what makes you feel safe to be emotionally vulnerable with me? Other than chocolate.
Not that look. What was that look? That was like a. So what
Tell
makes
me.
you feel? Tell me what you think about me.
No singing.
Okay, no
That
singing.
cannot make the cut. I will bleep it out. Like a
What?
long bleep.
Oh
You
man.
can't put that people through that. They'll be like, she swore for a long time. No, it was just singing.
What makes you feel safe to be emotionally vulnerable with me?
I've got an answer.
Well, that's great. It's my turn. Knowing that what I say will be heard and not dismissed. And I think you do that really well
Nice, yeah.
when you don't personalise what I say. And I think we're both
Yeah.
guilty of that, right?
For sure.
So it's easy to say something and for the other person to take it as an attack, or for it to even be said like with a tone that it could be almost like attacking, and then you're straight on the defense. So I think going into a conversation, even like prepping for something that might be difficult to discuss, like it's not unknown to us for me to say, hey, I've got something I want to discuss.
Yeah.
Can we maybe do it later or set aside
Make
some
time.
time? Like it's almost like planned conflict or planned vulnerability, because if you just throw it all out there in the heat of frustration or confusion or without having time to process it, like the conversation goes completely differently. So I think like almost having a planned time to be able to be vulnerable, knowing that what I'm saying is going to be met with kindness and care and understanding, which again comes with not just springing it on you, making sure that you're fed, watered and well slept is quite good.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be like emotionally reactive to what I'm saying.
It goes
or
the other
not
way
too
though
much.
as well. Like I feel like as you're the person bringing it, you've got to also like be in a state where you can bring it properly.
Yeah, be coming from
It's
a
not
place
all on the
where
other person who's
it's-
receiving it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're coming from a place of like both of you coming from a place of regulation, and then there's like things you can do to co-regulate before having those conversations, and that kind of can dip into like your love languages. So if it's like quality time,
Yeah.
you can spend time together, but then before say, hey, can we go do something we really enjoy, but then later can we have this conversation because there's something on my mind.
For sure. I was going to say, similar. I was going to say, like, making sure that we feel, like, connected, and that links to what you just said about doing something together that makes you feel, like, that way.
Yeah.
And then I was also going to say, like, planning to talk about it at a good time. Like, maybe you know your week is super busy at X, Y, and Z times, so we don't bring up it then. Don't know. We're about to do a school run, like, trying to get everything sorted and get out the door. Let's talk about it now. Like, that's a really terrible time to do it. Like, planning the time to do it. And, you know, we know... We've talked about a lot of our, like, we know when's good and when's bad to bring things up. And, you know, like you said, if I'm, like, super hungry or if I've just come in from, like, a 12-hour shoot day or something, like, we're not gonna talk about it then. Like, that's a terrible time to do it. But it's just knowing each other well enough, or having those conversations before, like, identifying times when are really good to bring things up that are a bit trickier.
And you learn that over time, right? Because
Yeah, we've learned it over time. It's taken us for ages to work it out.
my favourite was always like, I'm just about to fall asleep, and then suddenly I have like this thought that's been bothering me for 2 weeks, and then I'm like, let's talk about this really sensitive topic at 10 o'clock at night when we're about to go to sleep, because I need to get it off of my chest like right now. And then it's come from, you know, lots of conversations around, Annabelle, 10 o'clock at night is not an appropriate time to be talking about deep things, even though that's when I want to talk because my brain's processing at that time.
I'm just like, no way.
It's like, you're just like, write it down. Let's talk about it tomorrow. But it's done in such a tactful way that...
But that's planning together again, isn't it? That's
like
saying, look, that's important, write it down so you don't forget it, because you'll ask me and I'll be like, I don't know, I was half asleep. That's why I didn't talk about it now. Like, write it down, let's talk about it tomorrow, because we've got time. We can put actual time aside for it.
Yeah.
We can do it then.
And that doesn't mean that we're doing it perfectly. Like, we're human and we fall short of all of that, don't we? And sometimes it does end up... But we've learnt...
We've learnt by doing it wrong loads.
By doing it wrong lots.
Yeah.
And we're still going to continue to do it wrong at times, because we're human and we have emotions and we get hungry and sometimes you don't realise it and everything else.
Definitely. I feel like we've got to do one from the other category. What's the other category?
Oh,
you should know.
Active listening.
Oh, here you go.
Validation.
The one on top is that one, so that's fine.
Okay.
Thought I just lost one. Right.
Last one.
Ready?
As much as I'm enjoying this, we really should do a podcast.
My back hurts, so we've got to round this one up.
I'm excited for ramen.
I'm excited for ramen. I do need to get you some work very quickly.
Okay.
Sorry. Or I could do it. I could do it at the bar whilst you cook a bit.
This is true.
We can chat.
Great chat.
Sorry. Everyone wants to hear about that. It's not even fun work. I feel like we've covered... That's very similar. That's a good question. Oh, this is a long question. I've not even read it. It's just long. We're going to do it.
All right, we'll do the long one. Let's do the long one.
I don't know why. It might not be just using a massive font there. It's actually long. How do you feel when I empathise with your experiences, even if I haven't been through them myself?
Okay, it's really easy to answer these questions with, oh, I feel great. But
it's not about the question and straight away the answers of these. It's about sparking a conversation.
Yeah.
So actually, if it makes you feel great or wicked, that's perfect. But why? And how do we get to that point? And how can we make that happen more?
Yeah.
So how does it feel when I empathise with your experiences?
So I think to start with, like it is really difficult to empathise with people that haven't been through the same sort of journeys, right? But I also think that everyone will have been through something of a similar nature. So the thing that makes me think about that straight away is a time when we've both experienced like loss, but in very different ways, and we've been able to draw on our experiences of loss in order to empathise with the other person, even though it's not been a direct translation of experience. Yeah. And I think, again, in that moment, like, being able to find that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, parallel, I guess?
It's using it to empathise, isn't it, for sure?
Yeah.
Like, I think we've both said it, like, I've said it as well, like, that experience, particularly for me, has shown me that, like, I know enough from that experience that I don't know enough about your experience and your loss. And that I can empathise to a point, but also I can't empathise past a point because it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Like, some people look at my loss and go, oh, that's huge. And I'm like, yeah, but imagine if it was, like, this person's, like, for me, that looks huge. And actually, I think that teaches you enough to go, oh, I can really empathise how you might be feeling, but also it's not identical. Like, I can't say, oh, I know exactly how you're feeling, I don't. But I kind of know what, for me, makes me go, oh, that's weird when someone says that or does that to me, so I can know what not to do for that. So I think I know enough to know I don't know that much sometimes. I like that phrase a lot because I feel like that's a really good phrase for like practical stuff, and it's also a really good phrase like for emotional stuff. Like, I know enough about loss to know I don't know that much about how someone's going to grieve.
Yeah.
Like, I've done enough grieving myself to know that some days I did it really differently to others.
Yeah.
So someone thinking they know exactly how I'm going to be or was going to be doesn't work. So you know enough to know that you don't know enough.
Yeah, I love that. And it almost gives like a sense of humility to other people's experiences, right? Because it's quite easy to put one experience on like this pedestal of, well, your experiences wasn't as bad as mine, whereas everyone experiences different things differently.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that exact same thing. Yeah.
So it's being able to have that respect for what other people are going through, and actually, because when you go into it with a mindset of, oh, well, it's not that bad, you're instantly like dismissing someone else's feelings and invalidating what they're feeling as not as important as, or not as tragic as, or not as bad as. Whereas going in it with that mindset of you know enough to know that you don't know enough is like equipping you with that humility to be able to empathise with other people. And I think just being on the receiving end of that empathy, it means more to me when you empathise with something you haven't experienced, because that must be really hard, because it's really hard to step into someone else's shoes from an empathic point of view, not just a sympathy point of view. Like, it's really easy to say to someone, oh, I'm really sorry about your loss, or to pity someone or whatever, but to actually, like, empathy for me is not always about understanding. It's just about like going, oh, hey, oh yeah, I see that you're really down in a hole down there. Like, there's a great analogy that pity is like, oh, you know, you're throwing something down there, and then sympathy is like trying to pull someone up. But empathy is like, oh, I'm gonna get down with you. I'm gonna jump down, threaten breaking my leg, and I'm gonna sit down there in your darkness with you until we're both in a place where we can use each other to get back out again. Yeah.
So, that's really interesting. I think it's funny what you use that, like, use the, like, oh, I'm sorry, like when you say to someone, oh, I lost so and so, or, you know, I went through this, and someone's like, oh, I'm really sorry for your loss. It's like, I remember having people say that to me and be like, it's like the most shit response. Yeah. But still, when someone tells me they've lost someone, I still don't know what to say. I'm still like, I'm like, it's like, it is a bit crap. I'm sorry about that. Like, how you feeling? Like, there's still not a good answer to that. So it's a funny one. I think everyone struggles with that because there's no good response to that.
We don't have the language for it in our society and culture, do we? Because loss is just minimised generally.
True.
And people are like, it's that sitting.
People want to brush over it though, really quick.
They don't want to sit in their discomfort.
Oh, you like that?
Oh, I love that phrase.
No, they don't want to sit in the other person's discomfort.
Yeah, they don't want to be uncomfortable with the other person.
Yeah.
Because that's uncomfortable for them. Like, people don't want to be uncomfortable in their emotions.
True.
Because it feels icky, and we spend so much of our lives in society trying to, like, do whatever we can to not feel uncomfortable, that we end up like sabotaging so many different parts of our lives, and we're both guilty of that. No, we don't like feeling uncomfortable, and so we'll put all sorts of things in the way to get away from that thing. But that's it. Got to sit in your discomfort.
I love how far off this question we just went as well. But I think that's the beauty. That's the beauty of these, though, right? Like, they're not made for yes and no answers. They're not made for like quick. Oh yeah, we're nailing that, or oh no, we're really shit at that. Like, it's, even if you're nailing it, you can still have a conversation about stuff, can't you? So I think that's the cool thing. But talking about sitting in discomfort, I need to move because my back really hurts. Sorry, I don't like this. Like, we're not touching and it's far away, and
Thank you, husband, for being uncomfortable on camera.
It's really hot by the fire.
It's really warm. I've got quite a warm arm.
And I'm hungry.
But anyway, guys, if you are interested in purchasing,
you can't do a call to action. Turn the fire off.
Well, I'm doing it. So turn the fire back on.
Quick!
It's not off.
Glowing.
You've not even turned it
off
properly.
It's glowing. It's going.
If you are interested in purchasing my digital download, you can find them on the shop on my webpage, which is www.coequalcoaching.co.uk, and they will be available on there, as well as some other digital downloads. So if you want to put a bit of enthusiasm into your conversations, or just deepen the conversations you're having in your relationships, you might find that this resource is really useful for you. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Woo! I want to do that for like 20 minutes.